Yes, here we are once again, the High Noon Hemp Show every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time on the Hemptations Beach page on the old Facebook machine. I'm, of course, Joe Clare, live from Hemp Quarters in Sharonville. It is the man himself, Beach. How are things today, Beach?
Things are great. High above the hemp quarters in Sharonville, as you say. Welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show every Wednesday at high noon here on Hemptations Beach Facebook page. I'm also getting caught up on the old YouTube.
Yes.
Brought to you by Ding Hemp, the greatest plant on the planet.
Yeah, for YouTube, make sure you search Jedi Hemp or simply search the High Noon Hemp Show, and you'll find it. Past episodes.
That's right.
So go check that out. Subscribe as well. It's the thing on YouTube.
That is correct. And if your product has been on the product spotlight, you can search for that episode by that if it's posted yet. Give us a minute. Give Joe a minute over there. I just gave him all the information, and so it's not really his fault. But he will have everything caught up to date real soon. As we are over halfway through the second season of the High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed.
And so, and this year, man, this year is crazy. And so it's keeping us busy. And that being said, Hemptations is in fact nominated for a couple of the Best of City Beat. And so what you do there is you go to bestofcincinnati.com and you find either the smoke tobacco shop category, which we are, and I don't brag a lot, but it is true. We are the reigning champs, number one last year. And so kudos to my staff and our customers and everything that, goes on in that part of the store, where you have to be 18 or older with a disclaimer to purchase said tobacco products. Yes. We are also nominated, and this one I really like. This one, to me, warms my heart, for the Green Sustainable Goods store. And so I know a lot of people, don't really think of us as that, because they think of us more as the award-winning smoke store. It's funny to say. The award-winning smoke store. Yes. But, half of the reason, if not more, and the reason that I love what I do every day is the fact that there is nothing more green than hemp. And so if you buy any of the hemp products in the store, and again, we have the largest selection of hemp on the planet, that is an eco-conscious, eco-positive move. And so it's nice to be recognized in the green world for what hemp is to the green world. If it's not just here in Cincinnati, it means we've been educating enough people at this point that they do know how environmentally friendly hemp is. And so we have never placed in the top 3 of this particular category, the Green Sustainable Goods Store. That would be something that would really warm the heart. But being on the list, being nominated is always great. We don't do what we do for awards, but when we win awards, it sure is nice to be recognized. I don't throw my name into the hat. I just let it be as it stands, and so it's it is an honor to be nominated, as they say. To win is serendipitous.
It is an honor to be nominated, but having said that, we will crush the competition. We'll destroy all of those other stores. In a figurative sense, of course, not in a literal sense. They'll be destroyed emotionally from their devastating defeat at the hands of the Hemptations juggernaut.
So, well, we can only hope that they take it like I would take it, with a grain of salt. But,
Of course, you follow the Facebook pages and all that. We'll be posting links and reminding you. and all that stuff of how awesome we are, and how you can tell other people how awesome we are. I also believe the City Beat stuff is shareable. So like when you vote, you can share it on your social media networks, and it's more interactive that way. So do that as well. Citybeat.com.
Citybeat.com, bestofcincinnati.com. There we are. You have to go through at least, I think, and vote on a couple categories per page. So
You can vote once a
get
day
ready.
as well.
Get ready to, vote for a restaurant and a this or that. Do the best you can. Those businesses appreciate it as much as we appreciate it.
Indeed.
We got the new Queen City seltzer water came in, the Lazarus Lime. This particular flavor is actually named after the Lazarus lizards that are in Cincinnati. If you are not familiar with the famous lizards in Cincinnati, a wealthy family, the child of a wealthy family, brought in about 12 of these things into Cincinnati. I don't know, 100 years ago. I don't know how far back the history goes. And every one of these lizards it's all over Cincinnati. You see them basking in the sun in the summers and whatnot. There's a huge population of them. They all came from those original 12 that this kid had brought in, a shoebox or something. And so they're not, deemed an invasive species because they just eat insects. So they're kind of small. They don't get very big. But Cincinnati, if you know the history of Cincinnati, we are kind of famous for these Lazarus lizards.
Wow.
And so that's the history of them. New Queen City decided to put that on there. It's a new limited edition lime flavor. And so they're honoring the Lazarus lizard with that. Also, Queen City, Queen City Seltzer, Queen City Infusion, the seltzer alone, was just on the list of Forbes's 6 seltzer waters you should try.
I saw that.
And so that's again, as CBD is making huge national progress and media in the media, so to speak, it's good to see a local company getting recognized and the legitimacy of it all. Because we are seeing a lot of stuff about trust where you're getting your CBD products and these things and those things, and so we're moving forward with the 2018 again Agricultural Act being signed. There is already a boom in the CBD industry, and now there's going to be, again, Speedway is going to have it again. It's going to be everywhere. I'm not trying to promote all these places, but it's already showing up everywhere now. It really is going to be, everyone will be accepting it and using it and doing things with it. And so great, good for Queen City. We sell a lot of their seltzer water, that's for sure. So we love those guys and everything that they do over there, as they are a local industrial hemp business. So yay. The next, this picture I'm going to show you here, I'm going to send a little shout out to all the, it is the holiday season. I get, and I think the economy must be pretty decent because I, get a fair amount of gifts from my advertising people. This particular shirt was probably one of the most thought out of all my gifts that an advertiser or a sales person, someone that I buy stuff from, ever gave me. But this is a hemp shirt that they got out of the store. They printed the Hemp-tucky because they know how much of a Kentucky basketball fan I am. And so that's why it's the color it is. That's why the Hemp-Kentucky's on the front. The 95, if you don't know, is the year that we opened, 1995. It has the hemp leaf with all the different uses for hemp. The little swoosh that's not a swoosh, that actually came off the front of the Oxford store when we moved to the sidewalk. I think I might have told the story recently. I don't know. It was a sporting goods store. And so we took off everything, all the vinyl he had, but he had a big swoosh. And so we cut off the top of the swoosh and made it look kind of like a pipe. And so that was up in the top corner of the window of the store there for quite a while. And so that's actually what that is there. That is from a picture of the front of the Oxford store. And then the back, the Hemptations. And so that was, it's really, it's always nice to get stuff. That's for sure. Nice. all my salespeople, stepped up this year. I shouldn't say stepped up. I just, thought of me. It's nice to be thought of, so to speak. These guys down at Cumulus really did it right. That's for sure. Again, it's always nice to get a gift. And this next gift that I recently got, I actually got this at the Victory for Hemp over in DC. This is called I think it's pronounced Frigerian, as in Frigerian cap. And this particular cap goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years as a symbol of liberty. And so the red fabric is hemp. It folds in and out, and it kind of jokes because it does look kind of like Papa. It is kind of the hat that Papa Smurf wore, or the Smurfs wore. If you look at it right, so it folds kind of forward with that point. But it has a very long history of liberty, and I think the history is kind of fascinating. So it's you can see the spelling down there. It's PH. Not only could it be pronounced Frigerian, which I believe is how it is pronounced, but I believe you could also pronounce that Frigerian if you wanted to. This one I love because, again, it's personalized to me with the purple. So it's reversible, and it's got that purple fabric on the outside. And, of course, the Space Explorer, because, high and space kind of go hand in hand. And so, there's I don't know if there's a metaphor there or a simile. I don't know. There's something to be made.
It's definitely something to think about.
definitely a pun. And something to think about. And so once again, that was gifted to me, and that was gifted to me by Ed with, he's with Dr. Bronner's now, but he was originally a partner in Capitol Hemp, which I believe I mentioned the Capitol Hemp shop in Washington, D.C. as well, because they are kind of the same version of us, whereas about half the store, if not half the store, is hemp products, and the other half is tobacco products and whatnot. And so, I was in their shop, 10 years ago and was really, I was impressed. I was impressed by the amount of the range of hemp stuff that they have there. They were using Capitol Hemp in their name correctly, and they still exist. I think they've moved out of the Capitol kind of area, and one of the original partners is still carrying on. So kudos to them and all that they do, and thank you for the Frigerian cap, which I did put to use in DC because it was cold there and it kept my head warm, if nothing else. And so, that's what's going on in the Hemptations world a little bit. Awesome. We'll move on to the old product spotlight portion of the show.
Of course, products that you hear in the product spotlight, of course, can be found at hemptations.com. You can find the locations, find a store, get there. I really can't be any clearer than that. Get there.
Fucking stuff around. I'm trying to point down because underneath me is there. And of course that went awry.
Yes.
So anyway, moving on to our first product of the day. These warm my heart. It's she calls this line of her paper products the Nature Flexions cards, and this is a half a dozen of the images, and we probably have at least 18 different images. And these are cards just plain inside, printed on hemp paper with various pictures. But the reason that this is, that these are kind of to the roots is Lishua, who is if you go to a hemp event and there is some paper getting made, chances are that it is her. She is one of the prolific paper makers in the United States, using hemp paper or making hemp paper. And so these images, I think, are I don't know if they're made on the paper she makes, but they are probably made on the paper she makes. Anyway, I have some paper that she made for me from the original Kentucky hemp fields. And so I just saw her at the she is a woman of hemp. She's pretty sure she should be in that picture of the women of hemp, doing great things all over the country, showing off again how hemp was the original paper. When the Chinese invented hemp, I keep saying that they didn't invent hemp. When the Chinese invented paper, they used hemp. That is a known fact. And so the very first paper products were made using hemp. And she uses traditional ways of pounding and drying and this, that, and all the other. And so, but that's a product that you can pick up in the stores. If you need to get a card for someone and you want to send on some type of something, then hopefully you can find a picture that is apropos to the situation with that. The next product is the Everbar. These are pretty new. And this was a product originally that we picked up because I had a customer that moved here from the East Coast and they just loved their Everbars. They couldn't find them anywhere in Cincinnati. So I finally found them and we got them in. They also now make a CBD version. And so you can get the Everbar, just in the regular, so to speak, or you can get 25 milligrams of CBD in with the Everbar. And so, yeah, they have become quite popular. Again, it's one of those protein bar kind of natural line of things. And so I snack on one. I have a couple on my desk, and I snack on one when I need a little hemp snack. That's for sure. The next one, going 180 degrees the other direction, is probably the most popular hemp paper product that we have, and that's the line of raw hemp papers. And so, again, these are without a doubt the most popular line of papers that we have made from hemp. I like to tell the story of Wiz Khalifa's crew coming into the store. Like, I don't know, it's been a while back, but they were touring. They were doing a show in Cincinnati. Everybody but him, basically the whole crew came in and they spent like $400 buying raw papers and Hemptations lighters. And so, we were at the show that night and that was fun to see him using those on stage, because he did and he does.
I like that he has a crew that goes and gets papers. That's nice.
I know, right? And they
It's
all,
top
again,
level.
it was like, yeah, it was top level. He sent his girl and the crew at the time into the store, and made the largest papers and lighter purchase ever in the history of Hemptations. And so, we should put that on the wall somewhere.
Oh, it's a level I want to get to. I have a crew for the paper run. Give me some papers.
Yeah,
and some
that's
lighters.
right. Yeah,
I'm gonna chill here.
Right? Yeah, and I bet they had about 20 or 40 or so rolled up before they got back to Riverbend.
There you go.
And so anyway, yeah. Good stuff indeed. Found at all your Hemptations locations.
Yes.
Think like a
Ash
star. Anyway.
In the Facebook chat asking about finding the Everbars. Of course, they're sold at Hemptations, hemptations.com, 4 locations. As I said, go check one out. Even if you
Yeah,
don't,
yeah. If you can get to the locations, if not, you're gonna have to. Wouldn't surprise me at all if you can't find them on Amazon, and those places. If you're obviously in
indeed.
the Cincinnati area, you can find them at our place. But if you're looking for them, you might have to do a search or so online. You may have to go directly to their website, and they may be happy to ship them to you. I don't know. But again, if you're in the Cincinnati or Dayton area, find that Hemptations in full free range of fresh Ever bars,
Yes,
because we
drop
did just get
everything.
a shipment in recently.
Go get that.
Yes, it's true. It's true. All right, so moving on to the next product, the last of 4 from the store. We've got these fair hemp hats. We've had these for a while, and these are just a plain version of the fair hemp hat, very inexpensive hemp hat. We embroider on these as well, and so we have Hemptations hats embroidered with the fair hemp, and these have been on the shelves now for quite a while. I'll have to say we've been carrying the fair hemp hats, again, very inexpensive, just your plain old regular hemp cap, so to speak. And again, we do sell a lot of hats. The hemp hats have always been one of the more popular things over the years, and continue to be that way. And so there you have it, 4 from the store. Now the next one is this is where we have used the Pressboard to make these box shelves. And so this is just one version. This is the version that's sitting in the living room, the TV watching room, so to speak. And again, these are not connected; they're just stacked. So we've just built these hemp, boxes to make shelves, and they're full now. This is probably from when we first built them or had them built and put together. And so this is something I've had fun with the hemp press board over the years, is building in different sizes, but different, the same width or depth, and so they can be stacked kind of in different ways. And so we have various of those around the house and in places, and I probably couldn't have enough of those. I do like to build with the press board when I need shelves, and I do like shelves because I just tend to put stuff on them. I don't, it's weird. It's like a vortex of absorption. So
I like the
I don't
Lego
know if
shelf. That's nice.
yeah, and that actually lights up. That's a Lego that has a battery,
Wow.
and all those Legos actually light up when you turn it on. Yeah, I'm a sucker for Legos, and I think I got that from Think Geek originally.
That's nice.
It's probably intentionally. I probably got it rationalizing that I was going to give it to one of my kids at some point, and there it sits on the shelf.
And they still haven't got it.
And they still haven't got it, so it's never too late.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Oh.
And there's usually a Lorax on every shelf in the house too, so we do love the Lorax.
There you go.
So there you have it, folks. 4 from the store, 1 from our door. When it comes to hemp, it's what we do, and it's how we do it. And so now we're going to move on to Joe's favorite.
Sometimes I imagine people sitting there during the product spotlight going, when is this going to be over, and when are we going to get to the greatest segment of all time? They're shaking with anticipation. At least that's what I imagine. It may or may not be true. It really doesn't matter to me because it's what I imagine. It's time for what we affectionately refer to as the beachwear segment. What are you wearing, Beach?
What are you wearing, Beach? Yes, so today I am starting a theme that will go over the next 6 shows or 7 shows, including this one. You may or may not be able to guess what that theme is going to be by this, but we're going to start with red. And so I've got the fair hemp hat on, which we've embroidered in the shop with the Heads logo. If you're lucky enough to be a Cincinnati head, you might have one of those hats. You can also purchase those in the store when we have them available. The shirt, one of my favorite Hemptations University shirts, one version that I've done in most colors, is put the 5 facts for your brain unit on them. And so that's a shirt that I love to wear out, so people can stare at my back. And I turn and jump around real quick. Like, what are you doing? No, and learn something about hemp. And then we've got the Hempest boxer briefs. My favorite jeans, of course, the Kentucky Hemp Outfitters. I tend to wear those quite a bit, and so there they are. The Satori Cantaloupe with the red leaves on them, and the Vans Off the Walls version of hemp shoe there with the red trim. And so, if you woke up this morning and you said beach, what are you wearing?
Bam.
And what color is it? Now you know. We're starting a theme. I bet by next episode, if you're paying attention, you will know what that theme is. Let's just say as a clue, I have a lot of pride in this theme. And we'll go from there. Moving on.
Indeed.
From the most popular segment of the episode, what are you wearing, beach? And now, if you're tuning in for the news or some events, guess what?
Your timing is perfect yet again.
It's perfect. If you fast forward to this moment because you're only interested in the news or events, then your timing is, in fact, perfect. I will have to say a non-industrial hemp-related news in the state of Ohio. This just happens to be the very first day that medicine is available to patients in Ohio. Big shout out to a group of individuals that should have had this done a year ago, but finally have it done. If you live in the northeastern part of the state, you can find medicine. If you live in the southwest part of the state, guess what? We don't have any dispensaries open yet. But I would like to say, they finally have done something. Yes, they're moving forward. Of course, they're expecting a shortage right out of the gate. I would expect nothing less from this group of individuals that has done nothing but treat this like they weren't helping patients. We've done the opposite. But, we move forward. I do want to say it is a momentous day in Ohio because patients now have an access to some medicine in some parts of the state. We move forward. That being said, the slow roll. That's right. It's true. Can't wait to hear what happens in 3 months. Anyway, that being said, on a positive federal note and a great use of numbers, H.R. 42, House Resolution 42, Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol Act, H.R. 420 is what it's called. H.R. 420, Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol Act, now being pushed forward. I don't know if it's being pushed forward. It's being talked about to see what happens with next at the federal level. This could either be the federal government's way of saying we might be on board with taking all cannabis off the controlled substance list. This could just be a cruel joke on us, and nothing will happen with it. So we'll see. I've been saying, next couple of years are going to be interesting. Could be a whole new world out there when it comes to cannabis and its freedom.
We can hope.
We can hope. Well, and unfortunately, because, cannabis is not free everywhere, we've had probably now the largest snafu in industrial hemp arrests. Just recently, within the last week, we had 18,000 pounds of industrial hemp seized in Oklahoma going from Kentucky to Colorado. So this is very interesting. I think in the long run, council will be sought, and they'll get it all worked out. It's going to be interesting to watch how it gets worked out, because again, this was industrial hemp. This shows the prolific industry of industrial hemp in Kentucky, being grown for mostly CBD, a lot of CBD, obviously, 18,000 pounds. Most of this was probably for CBD going to Colorado to be processed, because they're ahead of us in the processing stages over here, which is interesting. Somebody opened up a processing center big enough to handle this in the area, and this wouldn't have been a problem. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this gets worked out in the state of Oklahoma, because again, it is industrial hemp. It was industrial hemp, and so we'll see how that all plays out. But it is more confusing, being caused kind of with the CBD industry and the industrial hemp industry. And so hopefully Oklahoma will figure it out, and then every other state will be like, yeah, that is actually what it is, because industrial hemp and all of its derivatives are now federally legal.
I wonder how many man hours that took to stop it and confiscate it and store it, if that's what they're doing. And it's just incredible for.
Yeah. They weren't going to take these four guys' word for it that it wasn't. And again, that's the confusion, because they're growing CBD, it's flower, and so at this point, and again, it bound to happen, and happening, slower or lower, smaller scales, but nothing this huge. And so, this is interesting for the large scale industrial hemp farming industry, one way or another. And I think it's going to get all worked out. But that's still how new everything really is, even with the industrial hemp part, and it being defined and everything with the newest Agricultural Improvement Act. So we'll see. I will keep everyone abreasted to what's going on with that particular industrial hemp episode as well. And then, ironically, twist of fate, or so, I did just see that New York is in fact getting 2 processing plants, and they are going to process hemp oil, fuel pellets. So they're going to take the biomass. These people are actually doing more biomass and grain, oil, and animal bedding. And so that's very good for those out there that need somewhere to go with that biomass. Or even the grain, if you're growing for grain and you want to turn that into just hemp oil. Those processing plants are closer in New York. I don't know if that's really closer. Depends on where they are in New York, because actually New York is pretty close to Ohio, depending on where they're actually putting these particular processing plants. But it is for industrial hemp. It is for industrial hemp biomass and grain, not CBD. And so good for them. That's gonna take all that biomass and grain that is getting grown over in the Midwest and on the East Coast, give it somewhere to go, and so they can get into the manufacturers, distributors' hands. And so we are moving. Again, it's farming, processing, wholesaling, reselling. Retailing part of it, and so it's all coming together slowly but surely. That one I didn't think was going to go fast, and so I won't make fun of them. I'm just happy to see any industrial hemp processing, building, growing, farming going on, and on any timeline. So that's the news in the hemp world. Couple events that I've been talking about for a while: the Asian Hemp Summit, the Poland Building event. Again, those are on hemptoday.net if you're interested in that. The Central U.S. Hemp Growers Conference and Expo in Rochester, Minnesota is going to happen on February 25th. you're in that area, want to get or interested in what's going on there. End of March, 29th, 30th, you got NoCo 6 in Denver. This is one of the biggest industrial hemp events, expos out there. That's going to be that's always worth going to, just to see what's going on with all that stuff. And then in April, we've got the National Hemp Expo in Louisville, as well as the Kenmare Kerry, Ireland hemp building, April 15th through the 17th. And so if you want to go to Ireland, this is an advanced level industrial hempcrete building course over 3 days. You can go to hempbuilding.com to get more information on that. But again, I always wanted to go to Ireland, and that would be just as good a reason as any, is to go do some hemp building and enjoy the scenery of Ireland as well. Hemp on the Bayou at Jazz Fest in May, and then again in May you've got another Ireland event, and so that's also on hempbuilding.com. And so those are the events. Again, you can go to hemptations.com. They're on the second page. As far as most of the events that I post on the store, talk about, or on the show, you can find there as well, all the product names, the locations, any of our events. We've got, within a week or so, we will be celebrating Gatewood Galbraith Day. For any of you that don't know, Gatewood was an attorney in Lexington, ran for governor of Kentucky, and was a huge voice for industrial hemp and bringing industrial hemp back. A huge voice for cannabis, period. A kind of a mentor of mine. I learned a lot watching Gatewood speak. I learned a lot hanging out with Gatewood, just talking to him about everyday things. Again, in Kentucky, in my opinion, he got that ball rolling 10, 15, 20 years ago to get us where we are now, where they are now in the state of Kentucky and industrial hemp. And so, somewhere, if I had one question for Mitch McConnell, it would be, how much of Gatewood's voice was screaming in your ear for you to get this done? Because I guarantee you that he would get a chuckle out of that. I guarantee you that Mitch would get a chuckle out of that, because Gatewood was he was loud and he was proud, and he knew where he was with where he wanted to be and what he wanted Kentucky to be, and how he thought it should get done. I couldn't be more proud of him. He passed away, I don't know how many years ago, and it was a sad day in a hemp warrior's life. But he will always be remembered. That's for sure, for everything that he's done in my world. And so anyway, my nose is really itching all of a sudden. What does that mean when your nose is itching?
I think your hand itching means you're going to get money, but I don't know about your nose.
Your ears are burning is one thing. There's got to be something about a nose itching. I need more hemp. It
means the show's almost over, I think.
It means the show is almost over. In fact, I don't have any questions for today. If anybody wants to shout out a question real quick that's watching, feel free to post something.
Amanda says hello in the chat area.
Hello, Amanda. Thank you for watching. And
obviously,
all that and all.
Hemptations@yahoo.com if you want to email some questions.
Ever.
Get to them.
Anytime.
Yeah. Whatever
Ever.
it's about. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Literally anything.
Anything that you want to ask.
We'll find you answers somehow.
Do it.
As best we can.
But that being said, there are no questions for today. I should do a better job. I was doing a good job of doing an ask and answer myself. I just need to, I guess, put out a make my own list of questions. If I was in a room stuck with myself, what questions would I ask me when there aren't questions out there about hemp? So I think we'll call it a show, folks. Appreciate everybody out there watching. Anybody watching in the future, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
Indeed. See y'all next week.